Good morning, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on Unify Stakeholders Accelerate Study Startup with Smarter CTMS. My name is Pooja Sood, and I'm delighted to be your host and facilitator for this session. On behalf of the entire CloudBiz team, thank you for joining us as we explore smarter ways to simplify study startup, unify stakeholders, and accelerate clinical trials without compromising compliance. We'll walk through the current challenges in study startup, showcase strategies to overcome bottlenecks, and demonstrate how cloud-based CTMS helps sponsors, CROs, and clinical sites work together seamlessly to bring therapies to patients faster. Before we get started, here are quick housekeeping notes to make sure you have the best experience today. This session is recorded and we'll share both the recording and the presentation slides with you afterwards. Your microphones are muted, but you can always submit questions anytime using the Q&A panel. We'll address them during the live Q&A session towards the end. And if you run into any technical issues, please just drop a message in the chat and our team will be happy to assist. Now here's what we'll cover in today's session. We'll cover a quick round of introduction to Cloudbase and our mission. We'll cover market analysis and challenges, slowing down study startup, bottlenecks impacting sponsors and CROs, trends transforming study startup up in 2025 and beyond, real-time collaboration and unified platform strategies, a live demo of our cloud-based CTMS in action, and finally, we'll wrap up with an interactive Q&A session. Now, before we dive into the main discussion, I quickly want to introduce you to Cloudbase, a leading e-clinical solutions provider. Our platform is one of the fastest growing unified clinical trial management solutions in the market, designed 100% on the Salesforce platform, offering a unique blend of scalability, modularity, and configurability to suit your specific business needs and processes. Our mission is simple: to empower sponsors, CROs, and research sites to conduct faster, smarter, and more connected clinical trials, reducing operational complexity while ensuring global regulatory compliance. A comprehensive suite of products covers the entire spectrum of clinical trial management, including the CTMS, which is a flagship product and facilitates seamless end-to-end project management for clinical trials, the CTFM, an essential tool for managing the financial aspects of clinical research, the ETMF, a robust document management solution ensuring compliance and efficient data handling, the EDC, a powerful data management platform, safety and pharmacovigilance that streamlines safety monitoring during and after clinical trials. We'll also be exploring the future of clinical trials with our recently launched AI-powered platform, the clinicalwave.ai, featuring tools like ClinRedact, ClinExtract, and ClinDicom, which help clinical trial users efficiently handle PHI and PII data across trial documents and DICOM images. Beyond our innovative solutions, Cloudbase has also been featured in the Everest Matrix as the leading provider of e-clinical solutions, highlighting our commitment to excellence and innovation. Our products seamlessly integrate with your existing systems, offering a unified workflow to ensure your clinical trial processes run smoothly and efficiently. Globally, we are present in 3 countries with our headquarters in Chicago, USA, regional offices in Toronto, Canada, and an offshore delivery center in Bengaluru, India, allowing us to support clients across different time zones. Our solutions are fully compliant with global safety regulations, including FDA 21 CFR Part 11, GCP, HIPAA, and more, ensuring quality and security in every aspect of clinical trial management. We are proudly ISO 9001 and 27001 certified, and we continue to be recognized for our commitment to quality and security. We are also honored to have been featured among the top 5 emerging pharmacovigilance startups by Startup US and to be recognized by the Inc. 5000 as one of the fastest growing companies in America. For more information, you can always visit our website, cloudbase.com, or reach out to us at info@cloudbase.com to book a personalized demo. We look forward to helping you bring life-saving therapies to market faster and improve patient lives worldwide. Now, with that, I'd like to introduce you to our speakers. First, we have Dinesh Kashyap. He's our CEO at Cloudbase with over 25 years of experience in digital transformation, CRM strategy, and life sciences commercial and clinical research. Dinesh is a digital strategy advisor who specializes in helping life sciences organizations adopt the latest advances in business and technology. He holds certification from MIT, Johns Hopkins, and UC San Diego, and is a Salesforce certified administrator. Today, he'll be sharing his perspective on the current challenges in clinical trial startup and how technology is driving change. You can reach out to him at dinesh@cloudbase.com. Joining Dinesh is Ved, our product manager, specializing in driving technological innovation in the healthcare and life sciences sector, with a strong background in clinical trial operations and e-clinical solutions. Ved has collaborated with cross-functional teams to deliver impactful products and enhance trial outcomes. Today, he will be walking us through a live demonstration of cloud-based CTMS, showcasing how it accelerates study activation and unifies stakeholders. You can reach out to Ved at vedant.srivastava@cloudbase.com. Now, with that, let's dive in and now hand it over to Dinesh to walk us through the challenges and market insights shaping study startup today. Dinesh, over to you.
Thank you very much, Pooja. Hello, everyone. Good morning and good afternoon, based on where you are. My name is Dinesh Kashyap, and I'm based out of Chicago. As Pooja mentioned, come from more than 25 years of experience. So today, thank you for giving us the opportunity to, spending time with us and opportunity to, learn, share some sessions with us. So to get started, wanted to go through some of the clinical trial market overview and understand the market landscape and see where the challenges exist in order to bring in a successful therapy to the market, right? So based on what we've seen, there are more than 450,000 clinical trials which are being registered. And most of these trials are in North American region. Now, so if you really look at it, most of the trials, based on our experience, what we have seen is that 80% of these clinical trials experience delays, with the timeless extending by 30 to 40% in an average. And even more increases by if you go by the therapeutic area of oncology and so on and so forth. Now, let's look at and dive into where does these kind of significant delays are happening throughout the process of clinical trial from beginning to the end, and just delve into specific areas, which is the study startup area, and see what are the challenges exist and learn and understand those challenges and see how technology can help us to solve those challenges as we go through in this session. Next slide. So if you really look at it from the clinical trial process standpoint, right, there are 4 stages in the clinical research. All right, so one is planning, startup, conduct, and closeout. Right. So if you really look at it from where the significant delay happens is basically during the startup, right? The reason is the startup, is often the most time intensive and delay prone phase of the clinical trial, right? Impacting the overall study timelines and cost. And effective planning, documentation, site selection, contracting. There are a lot of activity, especially the collaboration activities and administrative activities happen during this phase, basically interacting with the many stakeholders, including sponsors, CROs, and sites, and various activities such as contracting and regulatory approvals, right? So during this phase. Now, the study startup, right, can take, in an average to 90 to 120 days of time, with many trials delayed due to the operational inefficiency during this phase, right? So now let's look at, what are those, kind of delays in especially in the study startup phase. Next slide, Pooja. Right. So from the sponsor perspective, right? So obviously the finalization of the protocol and getting all the regulatory submissions cleared, and definitely that is the beginning of any study startup activity which is initiated. The complexity in finalizing the protocols, that takes a lot of time from the sponsor standpoint, making sure that the trial is ready to start, especially collaborating with the different stakeholders such as CROs and clinical sites and so on and so forth. And we have to, pass through all the regulatory requirements and hurdles to make sure that, the protocol is finally approved. That is one of the challenges which typically the sponsors face. Now, moving on to the next step, which is basically, identifying the right site, which, can be enrolled into the study through the feasibility, right? So feasibility is a very critical step. That's the first step where look at your potential sites and see whether those sites qualify to execute this particular protocol at that particular site. So from that standpoint, so what happens is that the list of sites you may be identified initially, you wanted to understand, get a full visibility into what is their performance looks like in the specific, in the similar therapeutic area or similar settings, to see how they are done in the past, for example, to understand if you that site can be qualified based on the various parameters which protocol requires. Now, oftentimes, right, that data, might not be available in time. Sometimes the data may be outdated. So that puts a difficulty in understanding and qualifying, or assessing that particular site to see whether that site can be qualified for this study. Now, geographical and infrastructure limitations, sometimes, lack of tools and technologies available to collaborate with the different geographical locations. If the protocol needs to be executed in multi regions or multi countries, oftentimes it requires additional regulatory processes and steps. In addition to that, availability of tools and technology is also extremely critical. Lack of that, right, it becomes extremely manual. So that again impacts the study startup timelines, especially when we include multi-regions, multi-geographical locations into the clinical startup as well. So obviously, the third step is the budget and contract negotiation phase. Oftentimes, this is done most of the time done offline through emails and sending various versions of the budgets, and going through the redlining of such things and negotiating certain visit cost or procedure cost or overall budgets and contracts, so on and so forth. And definitely, there is a lack of standardization in terms of in what format you would like to start this dialogue to begin with, right? That itself, brings in huge challenges, especially working with the various sites, so on and so forth, right? And the fourth step is, the training, from the sponsor standpoint, making sure that, the sites and investigators are well trained on the protocol and the very well details of the protocol, and making sure that the entire plan is very well communicated and trained, so that way these particular challenges might be avoided. So the inconsistent training practices, right? And oftentimes the training is not well detailed, and not oftentimes it's not coordinated due to lack of platforms and tools available in order to make sure that collaboration during the training is extremely critical, making sure that you have access to the real-time training materials, collaboration materials, and so on and so forth, so that way those challenges can be addressed. So those are the challenges from the sponsor perspective. So now let's look at the oftentimes the trials are also run through the CRO because of their expertise running specific therapeutic areas. So now let's look at from the CRO perspective. The CRO is leading the clinical research, and see what kind of challenges CROs face, in terms of the study startup, activities. Now, from the CRO standpoint, right, the feasibility and the site selection, that is the first step where CROs get involved. And though most of the CROs would have some level of site database, oftentimes because they do work with the sites quite often, so therefore they will have some level of intelligence in terms of the what kind of sites could be feasible. Oftentimes they already have a relationship with such sites. But but having said that, right, not having efficient collaboration tools is still going to be a challenge for them, in spite of having a good repository of sites and their performance metrics, and enabling dialogue with the site with the right information with the right time. It is still a challenge from the CRO standpoint. And of course, from the second step is the regulatory documentation and submissions. Oftentimes CROs work with various types of regulatory requirements, whether it's an IRB collaboration, whether it is third party IRBs may be involved, right? Managing the submission timelines and so on and so forth. Again, most of these collaboration or submissions happens through the either offline through email or some kind of a one-on-one communications, and not having platform and technology which enables real-time collaboration is again a challenge for the CROs as well. The startup timeline management standpoint, tracking milestones with the sites during the startup activities, such as the site activations or feasibility or qualification, so on and so forth, and also managing the vendors. There may be various vendors may be involved in terms of the central labs and equipments and so on and so forth. And those collaborations, when the CROs are managing, right, not having the right tools and technologies is a significant challenge, because oftentimes these are done in the absence of technology and platforms. It's done through email or kind of offline communication. That kind of it takes a lot of time to collaborate with various number of sites and vendors who are involved in the clinical trials. The first step is site initiation and training. So again, the CROs, where the CROs are taking in charge of initiation activities and training activities, like making sure that the sites are ready. So in terms of the readiness standpoint, it's a huge challenge, and the lack of coordination for the investigator training. So especially when it comes to the coordination of the schedules, in terms of making sure that content is available, and and the content is available to the sites in a collaborative manner. So again, that's again significant manual steps which is CROs face. And of course, the siloed vendor applications, such as, oftentimes each vendor comes with their own systems and applications, and that brings an additional challenge in terms of enabling this real-time collaboration with all the stakeholders who are involved in this, clinical trial process. Next slide, Pooja. Now, what are the top bottlenecks slowing down study startup, right? So especially from the site identification and activation standpoint, the difficulty in identifying qualified sites and lengthy contract negotiations is one of them. So, and the second one is, the variability in IRBs, and also in terms of the approval processes which may be required. Right, submissions could be different steps and different methods, for example, across different geographic locations. And most importantly, the manual workflows and silos is the biggest bottleneck when it comes to startup activity coordination. The lack of integrated tools creates delays and duplicated effort, especially when all of these activities has to be managed through emails and manual paper trails and so on and so forth. That is a significant slowdown when it comes to executing the study startup. So the lack of visibility and tracking. So while these study startup activities are happening, oftentimes, both sponsors and CROs, it's for them, it's very difficult to get real-time visibility and the tracking of what is really going on across, all the sites around the startup activities, right? The systems are fragmented. It's very difficult to gather the real-time information and oversight throughout the processes, all the way from feasibility to the site initiation activities, which include feasibilities, site qualification, contract negotiation, contract agreement, site initiation activities, so on and so forth. And of course, the last one is the budgeting and contracting complexity, right? The site budget negotiation takes weeks and months, because oftentimes these are done through Excel spreadsheets, and each site may be having its own version of the contracts, and then different pricing and etc. And doing all of this through emails and offline is extremely time consuming, and that's what causes delay as well in the study startup. And again, that's where we believe that the real-time collaboration, which is enabled by the technology, would significantly improve the collaboration activities to bring in the efficiency and reduce the timeline. Next slide. So what we are seeing with respect to the study startup, activity side, from the industry trend standpoint, especially this year, and we believe that this trend is going to be continue for a few months, maybe years, is that a lot of customers and a lot of CROs and sponsors are looking at if AI can drive site feasibility and selection, right? Given that CROs already have some kind of site database and the performance activities based on their prior experience, and applying predictive analytics and real-world data to identify high-performing sites. That's one of the area where we are seeing that, many customers are exploring artificial intelligence to apply and perform the site feasibility assessment much faster and much more accurately as well. The second trend, what we are seeing is that the digital regulatory submissions and ETMF. So a lot of CROs and sponsors are automatic submission packages and document workflows, which means that they're providing access to the sites, where sites can access these documents in real time. They can upload the documents, and those systems are automatically enabled with the approval of review of of workflows or approvals, or even making sure that there is a validation put in place to make sure that the documents which are uploaded by the site are valid and accurate before the CROs or sponsors can look into such documentation as well. So definitely there is a huge increase of adoption of the collaboration tools with respect to the real-time access and collection of these documentation, and also approving such documentation much faster as well. And again, in the third trend, what we are seeing in the market is that a lot of our customers and CROs and sponsors are standardizing the budget templates, for example, and they're defining as formats in which can be standardized. At the same time, it can be shared in real time with the sites, so that they can, as CROs and sponsors, work through these initial drafts and going through various versions, sites can actually access those data points, and they can provide real-time inputs while they're negotiating the it could be rate cards, it could be approvals, and so on and so forth. Basically, they're leveraging the platform capabilities to speed up these budget negotiation, contract negotiation, that will save significant amount of time during this the startup activity. And of course, a lot of customers where we are seeing are leveraging a unified platform where study startup is integrated with the rest of the clinical trial processes, which may include not only startup, also from the planning activities such as project management capabilities, and also from the study startup is completed, right? The same platforms can be extended to our capabilities can be leveraged for clinical monitoring standpoint as well, and also all the various aspects of the clinical research processes. So these are the trends what we are observing in the market right now, and they are significant and also bringing a huge value and significantly reducing the timelines during the study startup activities. Next slide, Pooja. So very specifically, driving down into real-time collaboration, right? So especially collaboration between the sponsors, CROs, and clinical sites. So now let's look at how this real-time collaboration can be achieved, and what are the benefits our customers can leverage. So number one is shared digital workspace. Basically, the platforms enable a shared workspace where sponsors, CROs, and sites can collaborate and enable all stakeholders in one place, so that they can collaborate in real time. They can see the tasks which are assigned to them. They can work on those tasks. They can enable upload of the documentation in the essential documentation process, for example, or a green lighting process. And also throughout the startup activities. So providing the real-time access to the systems and processes would enable significantly an improved efficient collaboration as well. So live status and tracking, especially that's extremely important. Oftentimes when collaborating with the sites and between sponsors and CROs, it's extremely important to make sure that where things stand with the real-time status updates, right? Let's say some document which is being expected from the sites, and if CROs and CRAs if they can know the status in real time, they can take a next step action. For example, it could be a follow-up. Oftentimes, even platforms can be enabled to do follow-ups if particular task is not done on a certain time and still remain in the same status, more than desired time. Workflows can be set up and system can self-monitor those progress activities so that way CROs can focus on bringing those real-time visibility and also making sure that they can help through the process to get these activities performed much faster as well. And that same thing goes to in terms of it could be any kind of activity, it could be a milestone, it could be a site readiness, feasibility reports, or it could be upload of the documentation, which is the essential documentation, or any kind of approval or validation that can be enabled for a review or checking the quality of the documentation, for example, right? All of those can be accessed in real time so that way both sites and CROs and sponsors can be on the same page with respect to all the startup activities. And again, the centralized document management, in this case, that's an ETMF or e-regulatory standpoint, right, where CROs and sponsors can extend the collaboration platform to the sites so that sites can upload the required documentation or access any kind of or a download any kind of a protocol or a study documentation such as a study brochure or a protocol document. They can download, they can go through, and they can also reply in the same platform, asking questions, for example, right? And also they as they go through the feasibility or essential documentation checklist or a qualification visit, so on and so forth, they can actually collaborate in real time, uploading the necessary required documentation and also providing necessary updates. And also same platform helps to collaborate on the budgeting and the contract process as well in terms of negotiation and tracking all the history of all the rates which are being discussed and finalize the such agreements and the rates as well on the same platform, which significantly brings in efficiency, transparency, and trust between CRO sponsors and sites, which is a significant driving force bringing the efficiency throughout the clinical trial process. Now, streamlining the communication is extremely important, right? So, having that, a two-way communication channel through the portal or through the, communications is extremely important to bring in the efficiency and transparency as well, right? Oftentimes, these are done through emails or, phone call follow-ups, etc. But going one extra mile, which is basically giving them access to the system where sites can actually work with the CROs and sponsor throughout these activities in real-time basis, that will bring in significant efficiency during the study startup. And again, that also brings in, improved accountability and most importantly, the audit trail, right? That's extremely important. For example, if there is some, comments which are being requested on the or posted on the portal, for example, and those can be immediately converted into, note to file process, which can be uploaded such comments into the ETMF folders. So making sure that all the communication, all the activities are being audit trailed and also available as traceable items in the ETMF from the regulatory review and audit standpoint as well. So these are all the ways where we are seeing that customers are leveraging a platform like cloud-based CTMS and unified platform for leveraging the capabilities available in the platform to bring in the efficiency and fast track the study startup activities. Next slide, Pooja. So again, from the cloud-based standpoint of we have been enabling study startup activities, collaboration platform, and bringing the efficiency for our customers. Since last 10 years, since we have been in the business, right? Our solution is built on Salesforce platform, which is known for most leading customer experience platform. We were basically leveraged the same platform for entire unified clinical trial management capabilities, and we brought in the entire end-to-end startup activity or startups workflows into the system to enable the activities which we just discussed, right? Which include site selection, feasibility, the budgeting, contracting, regulatory submissions, and ETMF, essential documentation checklist, green lighting process, including site qualification and site initiation, visit monitoring as well. So all of these activities are already baked into the capabilities, and customers are already leveraging to achieve faster startup activity and process as well. Our solution also provides real-time dashboards and automated workflows, so that way all stakeholders, sponsors, CROs, and sites can access these metrics in real time, so that way they can measure how quickly they're able to get things done, and also they can monitor how where the bottlenecks are, so that they can collaborate and get those things resolved as quickly as possible too. So that the workflow, the improvement, the transparency basically and reduces the entire time by the 40%. And again, we also provide AI powered capabilities as well. As Pooja mentioned earlier, we do provide clean extract and AI agents, which basically does any kind of a documentation which are uploaded. System has a smart enough to read through those documents and automatically populate the data which is needed into the system, so that way there is no manual activity needed to extract the information, such as let's say if the site is uploading 1572, system can extract the validity of such dates, right? System can populate all of those the necessary information needed as part of this startup activities as well. So with that, so I would like to hand over a brief demo about our solution and capabilities. I would encourage all of you to ask any questions you may have. More than happy to answer any questions you would like to post. With that, Ved, take it away.
Yeah, thanks, Dinesh. And thanks for the wonderful layout of what our CTMS and what the industry outlook is towards the startup and clinical operations in general. Now, before we jump into the live demo, Pooja, just stay on the slide for 1 second. I want to set the stage by talking briefly about how Cloudbase CTMS is designed to transform the study startup process. Cloudbase CTMS, as Dinesh has mentioned, is a Salesforce native solution that accelerates study activation by giving sponsors, CROs, a centralized control and real-time visibility across all startup activities. Now, study startup module specifically helps you to track site performance and feasibility outcomes, which we'll take a look how it helps in just a few seconds. It helps you to also conduct and manage feasibility surveys efficiently without any need of any external licenses for sites. You can just send out surveys. We'll take a look at that too and have them interact with that. And it also provides you centralized access to all the study data and documents in one unified place. Now, what you see in the middle is a diagram which shows you how different pieces of startup, feasibility, financials, and just a broader picture of how they're connected. All focused on improving the investigator, sponsor, and the CRO experience. Now, let's take a quick sneak peek into the demo. So again, hello everyone. Thanks for joining in today's session. And I'm excited to walk you through how Cloudbase CTMS, natively built on Salesforce platform, is helping sponsors and CROs transform the way they manage the clinical trial. Sorry, I think I got my headphones disconnected. Yeah. Now, as clinical trial becomes more complex, we spoke about with scattered data, siloed stakeholders, and rising regulatory expectations. Having a modern connected CTMS is pretty critical. And in the next 20 minutes, 25 minutes, I'll try to show you how Cloudbase can help you solve some of these challenges in 3 key ways: accelerating study startup and feasibility, smarter monitoring and training management. If the time permits, we'll also take a look at some of the collaboration portals such as sponsor portals, site investigator portals, CRO portals, and so on. Now let's head straight to the demo. As soon as you jump in, as soon as you log in, you would be greeted by this homepage. This homepage is fully customizable to what you care about and what your line of work is, which means if you are a study startup manager, you will only see study startup reports and dashboards, the task around that. If you're a finance head or finance manager, you would probably see more of finance reports, payments, status by site. And if you're overall clinical operations manager, director, you'll obviously see, like what I'm seeing right now, the whole oversight. Now, As I mentioned, this is an example. We can have the layout as you want. We can have the reports as you would need. And everything that you see here, whether it's a report, it's a data point, any document in the system, any contact, any budget, is searchable in this global search, is indexable and reportable. So your team will always have the insights they need. Um, and again, I'll start my day. I can glance into any of these reports. I can see what site activation by study is going on, which is performing well, which is not performing good. We can have alerts going out if we have a threshold set that, hey, the site has this study had to have these many sites activated by this time, but hasn't happened. The system can give you the alerts as and when it happens. I can also see by site how many essential document percentage is complete. I see my top 4 sites are doing pretty well, but 111 is a bit dicey. It's 75%, and 101 is a lot more dicey. So as a clinical operations head, I can keep an insight on all of these reports. And the good part is you don't even have to log in to always see this report. Sometimes you can just subscribe to it. So every Monday you're having your coffee, you come in, and then you could get these reports delivered to your inbox without even having to log in. On the right, you would see some items to approve. So currently on my plate, I have a budget that I have to approve, which has been submitted by Kareem. I have a monitoring report that I have to take a look at. I have a submission checklist that I can approve, reject, reassign if I know what that is. But obviously, I'm not going to trust so easily. So I can click on that and go to that submission checklist and see what's pending my approval. On similar lines, we want to make sure the productivity is highest. So we also give an option to track all your tasks on the home screen as well. Now, this is my task, but I can also filter it by today's task, upcoming task, overdue task, and all those things can be also done. And any meetings, we can also integrate with your Outlook, your Gmail, and have your meetings, emails, or all managed within this home screen. Now, let's take a look at accounts. Accounts is where, and let me switch to all accounts. Accounts is where you store all the business entities that you interact with. So if I quickly click on this new, you can see CROs, depots, FDA, RB, sites, sponsors, suppliers, and we can have vendors and much more as account types. So this is where it's sort of like an account book of all your business entities that you interact with. The beauty of the system is that it allows you to filter it the way you want. If you don't like this noise you see of all the accounts on the screen, you can always filter it out. If you're a CRO and you want to see all the site in US, you can have that filter in and then just select that and pin that. So as soon as you select that, you only see those accounts. In similar lines, if you are a CRO, if you are a site and you want to see all the sponsor accounts that you are running study on behalf of, you can pick that too. So again, the system is built to give you the most flexibility and the most comfort in terms of how you want to look at the data and what you want to look at. Now I'm going to click on this clinical site, or actually, let me call it account site account, which is where I can see all the historical information about this site and the existing information. Now, this site could be part of a study, which is completely fine. But right now I'm tracking holistic information about the site, like what the site has been doing, how they've been doing, which study they're part of. And that's what you see here. So on the top, you would see some information, their billing address and stuff, some of the, small nuances that you have to care about. But this is where you can track all the contacts. So whoever, the team members or site folks or you interact with can be tracked here. In this case, if I go to Tim Barr, I can actually see, kind of who is Tim Barr, what is his role, what has been the interaction. So I see a lot of call, follow-up, meetings, and emails have happened with Tim Barr, which is pretty exciting that I can track everything that has happened with Tim Barr. And rolling up, I can see all the activities that has happened with this account of clinical site. Performance metrics is where we sort of turn the gear towards study startup. Now, the system tracks exhaustive performance metrics. And when I actually zoom into any of it, you can see things like IRB review turnaround time, financial information, personnel information, contract time, negotiation time, subject enrolled, screen failure rate. This can be as exhaustive as you want. Now, obviously, a lot of this data is often pulled directly from EDC. And this is where our system has open APIs, and we can directly pull in information from EDC. After we pull it in, the system has all the mechanism of formulas, fields, and stuff to present the data in percentage, numbers, alphanumeric, whatever way you want to see them, right? And then you can make data-driven decisions. Now, I'm right now showing you where the performance metrics is housed. And this is an example. We can, as I mentioned, we can have 50 more metrics, 500 more metrics tracked in the system. And all of that would be automated. You don't have to go in and type in. We integrate with CTMS if there's any existing CTMS. We integrate with EDCs, with payment solutions, or we have our own unified platform, by the way. So that makes it even more simpler. Now, before I show you how you can kind of analyze a lot of site performance and stuff and see them in one window and a lot of magic around that, I want to make sure I cover, like, you can also track all the clinical studies this site has been part of or is currently running. So you can see their whole, stuff. You can actually click on study. Everything is clickable. So if you want to go into, hey, what was the study? What's happening with that? You can click on that too. Rate card. So this is, again, a very sought after functionality. And this sort of falls into our CTFM world, clinical trial financial management world. So each time a site has some sort of budget, you can actually track them as rate card. Now, let's say you're starting a new study and you're wondering what was the previous cost that was negotiated with this site. And this is where you can actually track all the historical cost that has been with the site, negotiated with the site. So this gives you sort of a base to know what your next study cost can look like. Now, the more data you feed in, the more studies you run, this keeps getting better. And this gets more suggestive as we go down the line. So again, when you're starting a new study and you have a negotiation process going on, this comes in very handy. And this is not just a rate card to view. This can actually be used as a template. What it means is when you start a new study and you want to quickly build out a budget, maybe with few tweaks, you can actually import this as a template. And if the time permits, I can show you, or I can definitely walk you through in a different session. So you can do that and then just have this budget populated in just few clicks and few seconds, and you're good to go. So very handy functionality. Now, let's say, I've shown you how the data is captured and stuff, but what are the different ways of actually finding out which site is good for your study? And I have a very, couple of options for that now, but this can get very, very detailed and would love to walk you through a demo of how site profiling and all those things work out. But I do have a nice site performance metrics table here for you guys to take a look at. This is a simple comparison of multiple sites with IRB approval time, some of adverse event, some deviations in violations, number of subjects enrolled, number of GCP training. Now, one of the ways is that you have this in a table and you go in and then add some filters and say, hey, I want to only find sites which are, which have IRB approval time, less than 7 days or 7 weeks, or I want to find sites which have enrolled greater than, 450 patients. That is one of the ways to do it. And this is the great part of the system, is that you as an end user can go in and actually build these reports and provide this filter. It's all end user friendly. And you don't have to rely to your vendor, even to your IT team, to go and build those reports. A little bit of training and you're good to run with building your own reports. Taking things to next step, we also have, and let me go back to the accounts quickly. We also have, we call it cloud-based assistant. This is sort of like your chatbot assistant. You can go in and kind of like, hey, show me sites and blah, blah, blah. In this case, I've just, before the demo, I just thought to save some time, list of clinical sites with highest number of screen patients or subjects, and it actually gave me a list of that pulling in from the data. So one of the ways is to obviously go in and look at the reports. Other ways, if you want to have a chat with sort of an agent to find you the sites, we can do that too. So cloud-based assistant goes in, finds the site, and you can actually click on view more and actually see all those lists created based on number of screen subjects. And yeah, you can select them and send them feasibility. On the topic of feasibility, I'm going to quickly show you clinical studies. Let me close my agent. Now, once you've identified sites, once you know which site is good or have an initial idea about that, right? Let me go to a study and show you how the feasibility process works. So one of the most impactful ways Cloudbase accelerates startup is through our built-in feasibility survey module, which is right here on the study screen. Now, surveys, and this is where I can directly send out surveys from the system with just click plus, let me just click on this plus button. You can select contact. So again, if we have a list of selected sites, that can show up here. But sometimes the third way of actually filtering it out is actually going to a study and selecting those sites. So let's say I know that this site is good for me, Toronto General Hospital, I can select them, or I can go down and search by location, search by departments. We can bring in more like some of the IRB approval time as a filter for you to filter from. So again, let's assume that we did that activity, we looked at some sites, we know that 4 or 5 sites are good, and these are those 6 sites which has been approved. For now, I'm just going to search my name. And there I am. I'm just going to click on done. So I've selected myself. And again, you don't have to send just one person. You can send this to as many as you want. The system makes it easier for you to even select an email template for feasibility. So you don't even have to type anything or any email at all. This is a pre-built template that we have, which means that the email is already, kind of built out. And then you can also select pre-built templates. Now, again, we will work with you. We'll, understand your templates. We'll build some for you, and then we'll also train you how to build your own templates. So everything is template based. You don't have to lift your finger to code anything or do anything to make something. You can also kind of drop any attachments that you want to send to sites along with this survey. And then obviously, you always have some sort of question what the survey looks like. Is this going to be? Is there any mistake? Is there any stuff which is not right? So I can always review or preview my survey right here. Oh, this is what it looks like. This is how sites will get it. This is where they can raise comments, and I can review. And any surveys can have any conditional fields, mandatory questions, comment boxes, pretty much anything that you need, an editable window of like 24 hours, 42 hours, 48 hours that you select. So once I feel like, hey, this all looks good, this is what site's gonna, I can quickly, just see the form, and I can quickly, sorry, I don't need to select this and click on send. What this will do is this will send out the feasibility survey, and this has been sent to me. Now, if the time doesn't permit, so I would have gone to the survey and show you how the site would interact with that. And again, you don't need to have any licenses for the site. There's no strings attached. They can just go in and just respond to your surveys. And yeah, you're good to go once you get responses. Now, once you get responses, we also have an innovative way to help you filter out those responses and analyze them in real time. And the system is built to give you any flexibility you want. Now, for example, this question is very important to me when I'm doing this. Does the site utilize satellite facilities? Now, if I just want to drill down this question, I can always just select this and maybe one more and maybe two more. That's your choice. And then the system now just displays these two questions. I can actually further filter within the responses. I just want to see yes. I don't want to see any no ones, right? I can in fact do that and apply them too. So now I'm actually seeing that one question and that two responses that I want to see. I can open up now 6 more questions I want to, and then analyze. And then once I feel okay, this site looks like it's feasible, I can go in and mark this feasible or not feasible. Obviously, there are gray areas where you might want to send this to somebody else within the team. You can have it downloaded as PDF, Excel. Well, yeah, be your guest. You can always go and send this to your sites, some sort of query and stuff, so you can have that back and forth. And again, everything you do is getting tracked on the right, so all the activity, the back and forth, all the communication is always tracked on your screen to take a look at. So you're not lost anywhere in this entire process. And again, as you see, out of these ones, I have 2 sites feasible right now. Rest, I think I still have to analyze. So you can kind of see in a nice view that what is feasible, what is not feasible. That's one of the things. And then also system gives you an option to track your study documents, checklist and stuff. So for example, this is a study deliverables checklist. So you can kind of see who the comments are, whose signature is needed. So the system allows you to track all the checklists that you have to, rec checklist, site activation checklist, study data deliverables, and so forth. Right now. And again, you can track the status is approved, in progress, in draft, all of those things. So feasibility is right there. Study startup documents is right there. So apart from that, at the site end, you can always go to clinical site. Once the site has been deemed feasible, once, let me click on this site and show you. Right now, site would initially be in plan stage. Once you do feasibility, it will turn into feasibility status. Once you define it's not feasible, then obviously it will skip feasibility and go to non-feasible status. It can be selected. Once it's selected, then you can also start with site startup activities. Again, you can have site checklist as well. So any of the regulatory checklist or any of the site activation checklist you can track. You can also have the essential documents. So this is where within a site, I have sort of list of essential documents that has been received. So system integrates with ETMF in the real time. You can use our ETMF, you can use any other external ETMF. And then the way set up is that within each site, you can see all the essential documents requested, and you can see the ETMF folder link right then and there. So it's all integrated. There's a referential integrity, as you can see here, and it's all cohesively built in. One of the interesting features, and I'm going to go back to my study, is design. So within design, and there's so much more to look at within this 20 minutes, we can barely get to anything, but we have something called visit plan, which is the reflection of your visit plan that you see in the protocol. You can build it like the way you see it in the protocol, so it completely reflects what's there. Now, this visit plan has two main benefits, actually three. One is obviously you would say financials. So as soon as, let's say, a subject visit gets completed, EDC sends over that data back to CTMS. The visit plan can help you complete that subject visit and generate the right payments. And that's a complete different conversation we can have on how payments, invoices is handled in the system, and is completely foolproof. But visits also helps you to track subject visits itself in the system as well. And on the same lines, I can quickly go to, again, back to clinical sites, click on this site and show the monitoring subtab. Now, we have the whole monitoring built out in the system. So I can see all my upcoming and past visit at a glance. So currently I had this monitoring visit happening this month. If I go back to last month, to August, I had one more interim monitoring visit which happened. So system allows you to track them, track the monitoring visit. You can actually go into each visit, have the reports built in, and fill out a report and have queries with the PI. All those processes can happen within the system. Let me quickly click on the subject visit. You can see I can send confirmation letter from the system. Any correspondence can be tracked in the system. Any monitoring report, and I can quickly show you one of the reports here. So this is one of the monitoring reports that we have, which is ready for signature, by the way, in the system. And then you can see all of these questions built out, responses, if any. There were a couple of comments. If any, you can track that in the system right here. Again, I'm trying to give you a picture. We would love to walk you through a complete monitoring end-to-end demo of how it works in the system. So a lot of things can be looked at. You can send follow-up letters from the system. Any action items for the next visit can be tracked here and can be pushed over to next visit. Any protocol deviations you identify in this the CRA can be tracked, which rolls up to the study. And again, you can interact with the PI right from the right side of the screen. Going back. And then, as we spoke about, the topics for this webinar was training. So you can also exhaustively track training in the system. Another training topic I have here is variant TrueBeam training. You can actually define a training at the site, at the study level. You can define applicable roles. So let's say study nurse have to go through this training. You can define that. Any training events, in person, virtual, all those things can be defined. And then can be tracked. Training emails can go out. Reminders can go out. If it expires, retraining emails can go out. All those good stuff can happen. And finally, I would like to show you quickly, I know the time is less, is the portals. So the system, as we spoke about, gives you an option to collaborate extensively with your external stakeholders. So if you're a CRO sponsor, you would love to go to a site port, or you love to have a site portal for your investigators, where investigators can log in and sort of, do a lot of things you want them to respond to. Like they can track studies, they can provide you essential documents. I'm logging in here as a site investigator, so I can track all the subjects. I can track the upcoming payments and much more. So this is site portal. If you are a sponsor, CRO, and you want to have a sponsor portal, so the sponsors can always be, made aware of what the real updates are in real time. Update is, you can always have a sponsor portal. If you're a sponsor and you want to get real time study updates, you can always have a CRO portal where CRO can go in and give you, real time updates. Can actually sometimes even upload, let's say, the visit details as a flat file or as a CSV, and then it can directly update your internal, sponsor CTMS in real time, or we just integrate with CRO system. So those sort of things, good stuff can be done from the system. So I also wanted to kind of point it out. That being said, again, there's so much more I would love to talk to, but I'm gonna stop now and wait for some questions. And yeah, let's wrap up on the demo. Any questions, Pooja, that we see?
Yeah, wait much. So we have a question. Oh, sorry. Yeah, the session recording will be shared. Please look out for that on your email. Wait, I was just wondering, like, we could also cover some of our FAQs that we usually hear from our prospects and customers.
Sure. One of the main questions we hear is that this is built on enterprise grade Salesforce. Do you need to have a Salesforce licenses to use this? No. So we have a OEM partnership with Salesforce. It sort of gives us an option to provide you with the platform without you needing to go to Salesforce. So all you need to do is sign up with Cloudbase, and you get an access to our, the enterprise grade platform of Salesforce, as well as our end-to-end built-in, clinical operations solution. I see an anonymous question, I think, is how flexible is the system if the protocol change mid-study? For example, adding visits and updating procedures. And that's a great question. Do reach out to me if you want to see that demo, but you can always go in, update, upgrade a visit version to version 1 from version 2, add that visit, and provide an effective end date and start date, and the system will automatically modify it to the newer version. So and it applies the same for a protocol itself. So yeah, so we can demo that. We can show you how that is done in the system, but this is where the system actually excels in handling such intricate, complex scenarios very easily. I don't see any other questions, Pooja, unless you see something.
No, I don't have any more questions, but I just wanted to cover a bit of more FAQs with which we have mostly like come across. Sorry, there's one more question that has come in. Oh, sorry, yeah. So if there is an issue that arises that relates to Salesforce source code, how responsive are they in addressing updates and fixes?
Yeah, so it's more than Salesforce source code. We just use their base platform, John. So I think any issues that happens will be addressed directly by us. And if a Salesforce coming with new release, we make sure we let the customers know that this is coming up, this is changing before even we go in and do anything in the production. So any in a nutshell, any changes, any issues, or any problem you face will be handled by us, proactively. As most of the code is from Cloudbase end within the Salesforce platform.
Thank you so much, Ved.
Thanks. Great question.
Ved, I was also wondering if you want to answer this question. So can feasibility service be customized for study or therapeutic area?
Oh yeah. So as I was showing, everything in the system is template based. So as we work with customers, we kind of ask them, hey, can you send us some sample feasibility surveys? And as we get it, we customize it for each study. But we also train the end users to go in and make their own surveys, to tweak their own surveys. So yes, each survey it can be customized for each study, and you can actually have multiple surveys for each study too, multiple arms and stuff. So yeah.
Thank you so much. And then how flexible is the system if protocols change mid-study?
Oh yeah, I think I just covered. I took that question, Pooja.
Yeah.
Just covered that. Yeah.
Okay, I think we have almost exhausted the timeline. So probably like we'll then just close the session. If you don't have any more questions, you could always reach out to us on our website, cloudbiz.com/contact us, or you could also email us at info@cloudbiz.com. I hope you found the discussion and the demo useful, and we really hope we were able to support you. Now, before we close, if you want to schedule a personalized demo or connect with the team, you can also use the QR code on your screen. The recording and slides will be sent to you shortly. For more information, you can always visit our website, cloudbiz.com, or email at info@cloudbiz.com. And just before that, we are also taking part in the SCTM this week. So if in case you are traveling or attending the event, please drop in at our booth 507. You'll see our team there. Thank you once again, and we look forward to seeing you next month with our next webinar. Have a great day. Thank you so much.